It was the morning Oprah Winfrey read 4 pages and started to cry at her desk before anyone else had arrived. She got to the last line, folded the letter, and made a decision she has never reversed. Because what Tina Turner wrote at the bottom of that final page was something Oprah understood she had no right to share. Chicago, February 1986. 3 months had passed since the interview. The episode had aired, the letters had come in, and the world had moved on to the next thing, the way the world always does. But Tina Turner had not moved on. Not entirely. The interview had taken something from her. She had said this herself, quietly, to the people closest to her, in the weeks that followed. Not in a damaging way, in the way that honesty sometimes costs something. You pay for the truth with a piece of the silence you had built around it, and once that silence is gone, you feel its absence. Every day. What the public had seen of that interview was 47 minutes. What they had not seen was the hour after. Tina in a small room off the studio floor, her makeup unchanged, sitting with a glass of water and the particular stillness of someone who has just given away something they cannot take back. A producer named Sarah had checked on her twice. Both times Tina had said she was fine. Both times Sarah had believed her. What no one knew, not Sarah, not the tour manager, not the people closest to Tina Turner, was that she had gone home that night and started writing. Not for publication, not for her memoir, which was still years away, just writing. The way a person writes when something has been unlocked and they have to find out what was inside it. She wrote for 3 weeks. Not every day, not in any organized way. She wrote the way the thoughts came, in fragments, in full sentences, in paragraphs that started as one thing and became something else entirely by the time they ended. And at the end of 3 weeks, she had 4 pages. 4 pages that she read back once. And then, addressed to Oprah Winfrey. She did not tell anyone she was sending it. She did not ask anyone to review it. She folded the 4 pages, placed them in an envelope, wrote the address by hand, and mailed it from a post office near her home in Los Angeles on a Thursday afternoon in late January. She told no one. The envelope arrived at the offices of the Oprah Winfrey Show on a Monday. It sat in a mail pile for 1 day, not because it was overlooked, but because the volume of correspondence the show received in those months was significant enough that even handwritten personal letters required a sorting process. A production assistant found it on Tuesday morning. She recognized the return address. She set it aside immediately. Oprah arrived at the office at 6:45 that Tuesday, before the phones started, before the production meetings, before any of the 43 people who worked in that office arrived to begin their day. This was how she started most mornings, an hour alone before the noise began, an hour she protected. The envelope was on her desk when she sat down. The production assistant had left it there with a small handwritten note that said simply, "From Tina Turner, thought you'd want this first." Oprah looked at the envelope for a moment before she opened it. The handwriting on the front was careful, deliberate. The handwriting of someone who had decided before they picked up the pen exactly what they were going to do. She opened it. 4 pages, handwritten throughout. She read the first page, then the second. On the 3rd page, she set the pages down on the desk and looked at the window. Outside, Chicago was doing what Chicago does in February. Gray sky, bare trees, the particular cold that settles into a city and decides to stay. She sat with that view for a moment, Then she picked up the pages and kept reading. What Tina Turner had written was not a thank you letter. It was not a complaint. It was not a request for anything. It was an account, a precise, unhurried account of what it had felt like to sit in that chair. Not the performance of sitting in that chair, not the public version, the composed, measured responses that 22 million people had watched. The private version. What was happening underneath the composure? What she had been thinking in the 3-second pause before she answered the question about the woman she had been. What she had been holding beneath the desk in both hands. And at the end of the 3rd page, Tina Turner had written something that Oprah would later describe, to herself, privately, in the journal she kept during those years, as the most honest thing anyone had ever sent her. She wrote that the question, "Tell me about the woman you were," had done something she hadn't expected. It had not made her feel exposed. It had made her feel seen. And she wrote that she had spent most of her adult life in rooms full of people. Audiences, journalists, photographers, producers, and that being seen, truly seen, without the performance and without the armor, was something she had almost stopped believing was possible. She wrote that she wanted Oprah to know that, not for any particular reason. Not because she needed anything in return, but because the people who give you something real deserve to know what they gave you. And then at the bottom of the 4th page, in slightly larger handwriting than the rest, as if she had written it last and written it differently because it was the thing she most needed to say and the thing she was least sure she had the right to say, Tina Turner had written 4 words. 4 words that Oprah read, and then read again, and then set the pages down on the desk and looked out at the gray February sky, and started to cry. Not loudly, not dramatically, in the quiet way that a person cries when they are alone and the thing they are feeling is too large and too specific to perform. She sat at her desk for 11 minutes. The office was still empty. The phones had not started. Outside, Chicago was still gray and cold and entirely indifferent. Then she folded the 4 pages, carefully. She placed them back in the envelope. She opened the bottom drawer of her desk, the drawer she used for things she was not ready to categorize, and she placed the envelope inside. And she closed the drawer. She has never shared the contents of that letter publicly, not in the years of interviews that followed, not in the books, not in the conversations about Tina Turner that she has had, on air and off, across the 4 decades since that Tuesday morning in February. Not once. People who have worked closely with Oprah over the years have said that this is, in itself, unusual. Oprah Winfrey built a career on the belief that truth shared becomes truth multiplied, that the stories we give away grow larger and more useful the more hands they pass through. It is how she has operated for 40 years. It is what she believes. And yet, there is one envelope in a drawer, wherever that drawer now is, that she has decided belongs only to the person who sent it and the person who received it. No one else. Those who have asked her about it, and over the years a few journalists have tried, report that she gives the same answer every time. She says, "Some things are given to you, not for you to share." She says, "That's one of them." And she doesn't say anything after that. Tina Turner passed away on May 24th, 2023. In the days that followed, Oprah spoke publicly about her. about the interview, about the impact, about what it had meant to sit across from a woman who had survived so much and was still, in every sense of the word, present. She did not mention the letter. There are things that exist between two people that belong only to those two people. Not because the world wouldn't understand, not because the truth is too difficult, but because some truths are given as gifts, offered from one person to another in the particular privacy of handwriting and a sealed envelope and a quiet Tuesday morning before the phones start. And gifts, when they are given in that spirit, are kept. We will never know what 4 words Tina Turner wrote at the bottom of that final page. We will never know what made Oprah Winfrey, who has shared almost everything, decide to share nothing. But we know this. In February 1986, on a gray Tuesday morning in Chicago, a woman sat alone at her desk and read something that made her cry. And whatever those 4 words were, they were true enough to keep. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more untold stories from the lives of the legends who changed everything. And leave a comment below. What is the one thing you wish you could have said to Tina Turner? We read every single one.